video, and so yeah, here we go. So today we're doing way too early NFL predictions, I guess, like season predictions. So the schedule was released yesterday, so we got the schedule here. Every game for every week. So yeah, pretty cool. They got it updated on Playoff Predictor. So let's just hop into it. So we're gonna go back to the beginning. Okay, so here we go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go through every team. So if you want to fast forward, I don't know how you. So I'm gonna start with this. So yeah. Okay, so the Pittsburgh Steelers, Week 1, tough game against Buffalo, probably gonna lose. Then against Las Vegas, they could get out a win, and I think they will. Now, I think Cincinnati's going to upset them here. I have a good feeling Cincinnati might be okay this year. Green Bay, still probably going to win that game. Now, it depends. If Aaron Rodgers isn't there, you never know. But I'm going with what the team has now. That goes for every team. So if a big trade happens, I might do this again. Or, I don't know. So right now, what they have, that's what's happening. Against Denver, I think Pittsburgh will get the win. Against Seattle, I think Pittsburgh will get the win against Seattle. I think it will be kind of an upset, but they're at home. Cleveland should win that one. Pittsburgh should win that one. So they're 4-4 right now. They've won a pretty good amount. They were. So 4-4, 5-4, till they lose to Los Angeles. They win against Cincinnati, lose against Baltimore. Thursday night game, Minnesota wins. Tennessee wins. They're 6-8. Oh boy, they lose again. But then they go out and win the rest of the games to go 9-8. That's not too bad. I forgot, who did they play the Chargers. So, did I miss any games? No, I didn't. But so yeah, that's just they play Tennessee as their option. So that's just how it works. Pretty 9-8. I don't know if that's gonna cut it. 9-8. That's basically, I guess, 9-7, 8-8 maybe. Because you can't go, yeah. So that's basically 8-8. So moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to start off a big win, but then Chicago comes at them. Wins, we already picked that one. They beat Jacksonville just barely, though. I think that's going to be a real good game you should look at. Thursday night against Joe Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence. That's going to be a good one. Then Green Bay should beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati should beat Detroit. Baltimore's probably going to get that win. Cincinnati beats the Jets. I think Cincinnati gets an upset on Cleveland. I think Las Vegas beats Cincinnati there. Then Cincinnati beats Los Angeles. That's a big win for them. But then San Francisco beats them. They beat Denver. So they're doing pretty good until they get to this hard stretch where they lose. And they're now at 8-9, which is what they're going to finish. Still not too bad for their second season. I mean, that's pretty good, to be honest. So they're 8-9, just a little worse than the Steelers, but still, Cincinnati. Watch out for them in the next years. I really believe in Joe Burrow, and he can do lots of things. And the Baltimore Ravens, they've jumped up here, so we're going to do them next. Las Vegas, I think Baltimore gets the win, but they can't beat the Chiefs. I don't feel like they can beat the Chiefs. They're going to beat Detroit and Denver and Indianapolis. 7-2 right now. Pretty good until they lose against Los Angeles. But they do beat Minnesota. They beat Miami. They lose against Chicago. And then they beat Cleveland. And then go out on a winning streak. 13-4 for the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to be good this year. So, yeah. They go on a win streak at the end of the year till they lose. Probably because you're going to see they kind of rest their starters that week. So, what are you thinking? Cleveland. They're 2-4 right now. They lose then, but then they win. 7-5 and then they win against Denver. 8-5 right now. They beat New England. They're 9-5. They beat Detroit. They beat Las Vegas, but lose. Actually, they beat Green Bay, and there you go. 12-5. Not too shabby for the Cleveland Browns. They go on a big winning streak a couple times. Well, one time. You know, they start out 1-0 and then they go down and just beat. It's kind of hard to get it because they've already lost. But there is the NFC. The AFC North. Sorry. It's going to be kind of a long video, so if you want to skip and find where your team is or find where your division is, you can do that. I'm going to try to find out how I can pin certain points so I can pin certain divisions or certain teams. I'll see if I can figure out how to do that. So I might have that. But let's just move on to the South now for Tennessee Titans. They play Arizona, actually. I did not realize that. But I think they will get the win. Seattle's going to win there. They should beat the Jets. They might lose to Jacksonville once, but I think Jacksonville will get them at home. That's a good win for Jacksonville. Monday Night Football against Buffalo. Tennessee might come up with the win there. KC probably will win there. Indianapolis is going to win one of those games. LA beats them, but they beat New Orleans, a good win. They beat Houston, who I think is going to be terrible. They get a close win against New England. They beat Jacksonville once more. They beat San Francisco. Miami gets them, but they beat Houston. So 11-6. So basically 10-6, if you want to look at it. Not too bad. A little worse than last year, I think. I think the division, Jacksonville's much better, I think. So they're going to have a little harder on Jacksonville. I see they lose a game against Jacksonville. So, yeah. They play a lot of losing teams, I just realized. 15 losing teams. Well, actually, no. Sorry, that's going to change. But, yeah. So, now we move on to Indianapolis. First game against Seattle, that one's going to be hard. And then they lose against LA. So, they start off 1-3 until they lose against Miami. But, of course, they beat Houston and San Francisco. And the Jets. And the Jags. But they can't beat Buffalo, but they get an upset win on Tampa Bay. Houston loses again. New England wins that. Indianapolis wins that. And then there. So Indianapolis, I'm missing a game. Oh, here. I think Indy will get that win. So they're 10-7. So basically 9-7. Actually, I think Jacksonville will get a win on them. I think Jacksonville is going to be sneaky and get some wins. So 9-8, basically 8-8. That's a pretty good I mean, they get some good wins. They don't have the hardest schedule. So, yeah, 9-8 for Indianapolis. They're all right. Jacksonville, they get the win against Houston and Denver, so 2-0 to start off the season. Arizona beats them. Miami slightly beats them. I think that's going to be a close game. So they're 4-5. They're thinking, we got to get an upset win, but they can't. And they can't win against Buffalo, but they can beat San Francisco and Atlanta and not LA. But, of course, they can beat that. And this is going to be a good game, but they do beat them. And then New England, I think, will beat them. So 8-9 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's a lot different from last year. 8-9. I really believe in Trevor Lawrence. Now, Houston, my boys. Not doing very good. They lose against Carolina 0-8. Well, 0-3 to start off the season. Of course, they can't lose to Buffalo. And they don't lose to New England. LA destroys them. So does the Cardinals. Miami beats them. New York beats him. New York is losing a lot. 1-4. Seattle beats them. I think LA is going to be the one. And then, yeah, that's just going to happen. 2-15. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's going to work. I think that's what's going to happen. They lose 2 there. I think they win the last 2 because, I don't know, I just feel like 2-15, they're going to suck. Even, I don't know. If Deshaun Watson doesn't play, then it's over for the Texans. So, yeah, that's just what I think. Sorry if you're a Texans fan. I don't know what to say, much about to say. But Miami, one of my favorite teams this year, they beat New England, lose to Buffalo, beat Las Vegas, lose to Tampa Bay, beat Miami, 7-3, 7-3, no. There would be 5-2 right now, speaking of that. They beat Buffalo, which is a good win. So we go over to here. They lose to the Jets. It's a sad loss. They beat Carolina, beat the Giants. New York again, they beat them. They lose to New Orleans, but beat New England, and 12-5. So 11-5 for the Dolphins. That's a good record to have going into the playoffs. So yes, they are making the playoffs. So I can see Pittsburgh's still in it, but they might not be for a little bit. Now Buffalo's going to beat Washington. Buffalo might be, no they're not. It's sad. They beat New York. They beat New Orleans. They beat New England. They beat Tampa Bay. They beat Carolina. New England gets one on them. But then they went out to go 13-4. Which isn't that bad, to be honest. 13-4, that's a good record. And right now, they're not in first, which is sad. But I just think that's what's going to happen. I don't know what there's much to say about it. Moving on down to New England. They've had a lot of losses already. But moving on, they beat the Jets. They lose to New Orleans. They get an upset win over Tampa Bay. That's just how it goes. They beat Dallas, of course. That's just how it happens. They beat the Jets. Los Angeles beats them. Carolina beats them, so they're 8-8 right. Well, they beat Atlanta, and then so that's how it ends up. 9-8 for New England, not too shabby. Basically 8-8, so not too bad. Now the Jets, they're not having great, but they do beat Carolina to open off the season, and they do beat Denver. They do beat Atlanta, so I'm giving them some wins here. 5-9, going on. We skip all the way here. Philadelphia does beat them. My favorite team, sorry. They upset New Orleans and go and lose there. So 6-11, a little better than last year, of course, but I don't think it's going to be Zach Wilson's fault. I don't think it's going to be any of their fault. I just think they're not there yet. I think Jacksonville's better as a team right now. There's too many holes on the Jets, like wide receiver, running back kind of, defense, maybe the corners. So it's not the best complete team, but 6-11, that's way better than last year. So Jets fans most likely will take it. Now KC, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. Start off the season. They beat Washington. They beat New Orleans. They beat the Giants, but they lose to Green Bay. They beat Las Vegas. They beat Dallas. They beat Denver, but they lose to Las Vegas. They lose to Los Angeles. And they go 13-3 until they go 14-3. 14-3, the best record right now. They might lose against Denver, so they're 13-4. 3 teams going 13-4, which is crazy, but that's just how it works. Sorry, I'm picking up the computer right now. That might have got muffled a little bit. But moving on to Los Angeles, sorry. Play Washington week 1, they get the dub there, and then Dallas, they get the dub. Las Vegas, they win. Going down to Philadelphia, they win. I think they beat Minnesota right now, and then, let's see, they're 8-5 right now, which isn't too bad, which isn't too shabby. But they do lose to Denver. And then they do beat the New York Giants. What are they? 9-6. All right. They beat the Denver, and then they beat Las Vegas to go. Actually, they lose against Las Vegas to go 10-7. So 10-7, not too bad. They're in the playoffs. So as you can see, there's basically how it goes. There's what I think is going to happen. I mean, not too bad. Indeed. Actually, hold on. I'm stupid. I forgot about Las Vegas. Sorry if you're a Las Vegas or a Denver fan. Moving on to the Raiders. They beat Chicago. They beat Denver. They lose to Philly. The Giants beat them. Dallas loses to them. They beat Washington. They beat Denver. And they go 8-9. So basically 7-9 or 8-8, whatever way you want to look at it. So Denver 2-10 right now, as you see. So that's a little something there. The Giants do beat them. They beat Washington. They beat Dallas. Lose to Philly. Beat Detroit. So they go 5-12. I don't know. The Broncos don't seem like a team to me. that win a bunch of games. So they go 5-12, one of the worst records in the league right now. Well, especially in the AFC, because look at the AFC North. So now going on to the NFC North, the Green Bay Packers. They lose week 1, but rebound week 2, and week 3, and week 4, and week 7. Hold on, I messed up there. A little bit of that, but they lose against Arizona, which kind of sucks. They beat Seattle down. They beat Minnesota, lose to LA, beat Chicago twice. They beat Minnesota twice, and they beat Detroit. So this is with Aaron Rodgers. They go 12-4 or 5, or 12-4 or 11-5, however you want to look at it. It was regular, but so yeah, that's what's happened. Sorry, So yeah, now for Chicago, they lose to LA, and they lose. So and then they beat Detroit. Tampa Bay beats them. They beat San Francisco though. Francisco 1-6. Oh boy. They beat Detroit. They beat Arizona 6-7. Not too shabby. They beat Minnesota. Yeah, they do. Beat Minnesota, but they lose to Seattle and the Giants. And they beat Minnesota again. So 8-9 for them. Minnesota. Wow. They beat Arizona. They lose to Seattle. Sorry, excuse me. They beat Detroit. They beat Carolina. They beat Dallas. Moving on down. San Francisco. Oh, sorry about that. San Francisco does get a win on them. Minnesota wins there. Minnesota beats LA. And that's LA 7-10. So they end off. They're okay. Now Detroit 0-11 right now. San Francisco beats them. LA beats them. Philly beats them. They beat Arizona though. They beat the Falcons. And they beat the Seattle, and they're 3-14. That's not too good. That's not too good at all, man. 3-14. I'm not a big Jared Goff guy. They kind of lost a lot of weapons. I don't know if they're the best team. I think they'll be okay in the future. If they get a good draft pick, so yeah. And speaking of draft picks, I will be making a draft in a couple weeks based off what I think's going to happen. It's like a way too early draft based on my prediction. So as you can see, you can go down, let me see, go back, and then draft order. You can hit draft order and see where everybody will be. So that will help determine who's in what orders. So yeah. So that's the NFC North. Now for New Orleans. As you see, they start off with a win. They beat Carolina. They beat the Giants. They lose to Washington and Seattle and Tampa Bay, but they do win against Atlanta. They beat Philly. They beat Dallas. They beat Tampa Bay again. They beat Carolina. And they beat the Falcons. So 11-6. Not too bad, to be honest. So moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champs. They beat Dallas. They beat Atlanta. They lose to LA. Lose to Philly. I think that's going to be an upset. They beat Washington. And they beat Giants. The Falcons, they destroyed. beat Carolina, and then beat Carolina again. So 11-6 also. Not winning the division somehow? I don't know how that works. How the heck does that work, my pals? How in the world does that even work? How do they determine? I don't know. But, alright, moving on to Carolina, who is 2-8 right now, so not very good. But they do beat Dallas, and they don't beat Philadelphia, but they do beat the Giants. Woohoo! And they do beat Atlanta. Atlanta. They lose to the Cardinals, though. That's sad. They beat Washington, but lose to Atlanta. So that's the Carolina Panthers, 6-12. And 6-11, excuse me. Can't talk today. Moving on to Atlanta, they lose to Philadelphia to start off the season, but they beat the Giants and Washington and Dallas, but not the 49ers. So 4-13, yikes. I think Matt Ryan will, Matt Ryan will kind of fall off a little bit. So yeah, that's just what I think is going to happen. Moving on to Philadelphia, my favorite team right now. San Francisco beats them. They beat Dallas. They beat New York. They beat Washington. They lose to Washington. Sorry, I skipped this. They beat Philly. They beat the Giants. They beat Dallas again. So 12-5 for Philadelphia, my favorite team. Let's go Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. So, before I go here, so yeah, that's just what I think's going to happen. Most of it was already predicted, so. What is this down here? I don't know why that comes up. That's weird. Moving on to the Giants. They beat Washington. Dallas beats them. LA beats them. And they beat Dallas. So, and they lose. They beat Washington. So 6-11 for the Giants. Might be a little biased, but that's basically what they did last year. So I don't think they got much better. Not much. I don't think Daniel Jones is the right guy for the job. Now Washington, look at this. They're losing, but they win every game that I don't have them winning. And I don't have them predicted. So 5-12. Wowza, I did not realize they just lose a lot of games. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is, but I don't think their schedule's right. Their schedule's too hard, I think. They play a lot of good teams, Washington does. So, I don't think they can handle those good teams. Dallas right now, woo-zee, I have them losing a lot of games. But they do win every game that I don't have them winning. Now, this might be the most biased one, but I think I'm going to change some. I don't know. They might get a win against Las Vegas. This is going to change some over here, but I don't want to be too biased. You know what I mean? They're probably going to beat Carolina. Makes them 4-13. They're going to be better than that. Who else could they be? Denver. Yeah, I think that's just going to win that. I mean, that division's going to suck still. I don't think Dallas is up to the par. So, sorry if I'm being biased, but if you're a Dallas fan, just don't watch this channel. Alright, LA. I think they'll be very good. I really like Matt Stafford. So, yeah, they beat them to Monday night. They beat San Francisco. Arizona beats them, though. Oopsies. And they beat Seattle. Actually, lose to Seattle. And then San Francisco beats them. So 12 and 5. 12 and 5. 12 and 5. 12 and 5. Except, no. I don't know, man. Who do they have them losing to? They're not going to lose to Minnesota. Well, I think they'll have the best record. So 13-4 makes sense for them. So now moving on to Seattle. Moving on down here, San Francisco does get a win on them, so, you know. Moving on, they do beat San Francisco again. And they do beat them. Am I missing something? Yes, I am, my bad boys. I'm missing that one, but they do beat Arizona. Why is Arizona so bad? I don't know. Alright, moving on to San Francisco. So, haven't beaten the Cardinals and the Cardinals. So, 9 and 8. Cardinals. Why do you gotta suck? Jeez, the Cardinals. They beat Detroit. And yeah, I think they beat them. So, Arizona, my boys. Not cutting it there, Mr. Arizona. 7 and 10. Yikes. Why did I have that? Alright, I think I'm done. But we're doing the playoffs. So this video, I should say, it's getting a little long. I don't know how long it is, but hopefully you didn't click off, I guess. I don't know. I'm just going to move myself to the playoffs wildcard weekend. Miami, Tennessee. Miami wins. Buffalo wins. Los Angeles gets the upset. Woo-wee, Los Angeles gets the upset. That's what I feel is going to happen. It's going to be a good one here, but New Orleans wins. Philadelphia wins. Green Bay wins. Yes. Moving on. Miami, Buffalo, good game. Miami wins. Upset. KC wins. Philly wins and LA wins. Moving on. KC wins. LA wins. LA wins the Super Bowl. Boom, bang, boom, bang, shalang. KC, so close. Super Bowl predictions. Mm, 31-26 Rams. Boom, chicka boom. That's my Super Bowl. That's my playoff. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. I don't know what to say about it. But yeah, so let's just look at the draft order. The Lions, I don't think that, I don't want the Lions to be number one. We're moving down the board. So that's my draft order. If you hate it, fine. If you like it, good. That's just what I think's gonna happen. That's just what I think's gonna play out. So, hope you enjoyed. I did, I guess. So, yeah. Click the like button. Tell your friends about this video. And I'll see you tomorrow. Or I'll see you when I do this NFL draft. So, peace out, Girl Scout.